Ladies and gents, my name is Xander, aka Deislayers, and in this video, we are going to go over the top 5 best legendary auto rifles to use in PvP, and or the crucible. Now what this video is going to entail is a bunch of different auto rifles with a bunch of different archetypes ranging from high rate of fire to low rate of fire, and high impact to low impact auto rifles. What this video is not going to entail is any of the new auto rifles coming out from the new raids, because of the very simple fact that they are now classified as exotics. With that being said, I have a huge favor to ask of you guys, and that is for those of you that are new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on notifications as well. With that being said, let's jump right into the video. Appearing in the number 5 spot of all the legendary auto rifles out there is the pretty cool looking unbent tree from Iron Banner. Now as I just said, it is from Iron Banner, so the really only prominent way of getting this weapon is by getting those packages from Lady Aphrodite and then turning them in to hope that this weapon drops. Or you also might be able to go ahead and buy the weapon from Lady Aphrodite herself if she happens to be selling it. Unfortunately, Lady Aphrodite only comes around once a month, yet there's still one prominent way that you can get this weapon, which is to go down to the Crucible Quartermaster and buy the auto rifle package. If you buy the auto rifle bounty, whenever you turn that in, then this unbent tree has a chance to drop from that bounty. Now in order for us to really understand this weapon, we need to inspect the weapon and see the perks that it has, and then understand why I'm using those perks. So as we inspect the weapon, we see that it's got Iron Warrior Sight, Perfect Balance, a Pendant Magazine, and Counterbalance. I love this weapon because it's got perfect balance and counterbalance, and what that allows me to do is have a really good base stability with perfect balance, because now that base stability is at 56 out of 100. Counterbalance is also excellent to have because what that does is it allows you to have only vertical recoil and no lateral side-to-side movement whenever you're aiming down the sight. This allows you to really increase your accuracy, which you absolutely have to have with that overall gun. Now this weapon is one of the highest rate of fire archetypes in the entire game at 100 out of 100 with a very low impact of 2 out of 100. So you really need to have that accuracy with that stability, and that's why perfect balance and counterbalance are so prominent. Now another good thing about this weapon is that it's got a pendant magazine, and that's great because that allows me to have a magazine size of 69 out of 100, which is absolutely essential for number 1, because it's got a really high rate of fire, and number 2, it allows you to easily kill 2 or 3 guardians in one magazine clip. The only bad thing about this weapon is that it's got a base range stat of 16 out of 100, so you have to be really close to your opponent guardian in order to kill them, but other than that, it's a really good weapon. So try it out in the Crucible and let me know how you like it. Arriving in the number 4 spot of all the legendary auto rifles out there is this little red devil called the Grim Citizen. Now you can get the Grim Citizen by going to regular Crucible games and completing each match, because at the end of each match, you have a chance to have this weapon be dropped. In addition to that, you can also get this weapon by completing one of Lord Shaxx's 2 weekly bounties, or by ranking up in the Crucible and getting another package from Lord Shaxx himself. Now in order for us to understand how good that this weapon is, we really need to know the perks that it's got and why I'm using those perks. So as we inspect the weapon, we see that it's got Sure Shot, Persistence, Handling Stock, and Grenadier. So the reason that I like Sure Shot is because number 1, it's got really good target acquisition, aka aim assist, and number 2, it's a very low zoom sight, and that allows me to see more guardians with my peripheral vision while I'm still aimed down sights. In addition to all this stuff, this weapon has Handling Stock, which is absolutely essential for this weapon because it increases the base stability of the weapon to 77 out of 100. Now the reason that I say stability is really vital for this weapon is because it is of the highest impact with lowest rate of fire. Now what that means is that because it's got such a high impact, it can do a lot of damage. So it does 27 points of damage in the head and only 20 points of damage in the body. Now because it has such a high impact though, it's got a low rate of fire. So if you're hitting body shots with this weapon, you're simply not going to be able to compete in the Crucible because you're going to be beat by other higher rate of fire auto rifles or higher rate of fire pulse rifles or really good hand cannons in general. So that's why you got to have a really good stability with this weapon in order for you to be able to hit headshots, and if you can do that, then you're definitely going to be killing it in the Crucible. Now this weapon also has Persistence, which is another stability perk, making this gun even more accurate, and it's also got Grenadier. Now Grenadier is kind of the last perk that I can say that can be interchanged. Personally, I'd rather even have Hand because that gives me really good target acquisition, and then you combine that with really good stability, then this weapon's going to be killing it. So what I would really advise for you guys is to look for this weapon and get good stability perks with good target acquisition perks as well. Emerging in the number 3 spot of all the legendary auto rifles out there is this beautiful gold gun called the Vision Stone from Trials of Osiris. Now, in order for you to get this weapon, you have got to play and compete in Trials, because once you get to that 7th win margin, it's kind of like a checkpoint, and you get a weapon, which this weapon has a chance to drop from that checkpoint. Now, in addition to that, you can also get this weapon by playing and going flawless in Trials, or by completing the auto rifle bounty from the Crucible Quartermaster. Note that the only difference between this weapon in terms of perks is that if you get it from the Lighthouse, then you have the intrinsic perk of Snapshot, but other than that, these same perks are in the exact same columns, so no matter where you're getting it from, it's pretty much the exact same gun. Now, in order for us to really understand how good that this weapon is, we need to inspect the weapon and see the perks that I'm using. So as we inspect the weapon, we see that it's got Smart Drift Control, Send It, Fid Stock, and Rodeo. Now, I like to use the combination of Smart Drift Control, Send It, and Fitted Stock, because with those 3 combined, it gives me a very good base range stat and a very good base stability stat. So in terms of base range, I have a stat of 43 out of 100, and in terms of base stability, I have 75 out of 100. Now for that range, it is by far the best one that we've covered so far, so you're going to be able to easily cross-map people no problem whatsoever, and that stability is still really good, because even if you compare it to, say, the Grim Citizen or that of the Unbent Tree, it still has a better stability. So that's why this weapon is even better than the 2 previous ones that we've covered with this kind of weapon combination. Now, this weapon also has Rodeo, and because of that, it reduces the severity of the weapon's recoil, and that allows me to be even more consistent and even get more headshots. Now, the other really good thing about this weapon is that its sight has that beautiful glowing aspect to it, so that whenever you're aiming down the sights, all Guardians are highlighted, and so you're going to be able to hit your shots even better. The only bad thing that I have to say about this weapon is that its magazine size with this weapon combination, or I should say with this perk combination, is a little bit low. But other than that, it's a really powerful weapon, and by far, one of the best weapons in terms of range. Reaching the number 2 spot of all the legendary auto rifles out there is this marvelous gun called the Continental from the Vanguard Quartermaster. Now, with Age of Triumph, every single week, all the vendor weapons are constantly being reset, and what that means is that we have a better chance to get awesome god rolls with all these weapons. And that's exactly what happened a couple weeks ago with the Continental, and as you guys can see from right there, this weapon has Steady Hand, Eye of the Storm, Brace Frame, and Hidden Hand. So the reason that I like this weapon so much is because number 1, it's got Hidden Hand, and that gives me great target acquisition. Number 2, this weapon also has Brace Frame, and so that makes the base stability on this weapon at 97 out of 100. When you combine Brace Frame and Hidden Hand, it's simply not fair, because this weapon is literally a freaking laser beam that doesn't miss because of that target acquisition. It's so unbelievably powerful, and it melts Guardians in literally less than a second. Now, this weapon also has Eye of the Storm, so whenever my health is low in gun battle engagements, I'm even more accurate with my shot. And it's also got Steady Hand, which increases the recoil control even more, and it's got a low zoom sight, meaning that I can have better peripheral vision seeing more Guardians while I'm aiming down the sights. The only bad thing that I can really say about this weapon is that its magazine size is only at around 29, so that's the really kind of downside to it, because you can probably only kill 1 Guardian, maybe 2 Guardians tops. But it's also got a decent range stat at 26 out of 100, so you can probably hit Guardians mid-range no problem. And the most important thing though that I gotta say is that it's got Hidden Hand and Brace Frame. So look for a weapon that's similar to this in terms of stability and target acquisition, because if you can do, you're going to be hitting everything and be seeing that you're the Bumblebee of Bumblebees. Finishing in the number 1 spot of all the legendary auto rifles out there is the sexy black and white zebra called the Extrema file from Dead Orbit. So a couple weekends ago, this thing was out to buy, and I wasn't even sure if I was actually going to get the weapon, because I saw the perks, and I thought to myself, oh, it could be good, or it could be really bad. It's kind of 50-50, and man, am I so glad that I took the time to go buy this weapon and switch factions, because this thing is a god roll among god roll auto rifles, and you will understand why once you inspect the weapon. So as we inspect the weapon, we see that it's got quick draw, high caliber rounds, perfect balance, and counterbalance. So right off the bat there, we know that Perfect Balance and Counterbalance is a great combination because Perfect Balance increases the base stability of the weapon to 73 out of 100, and then Counterbalance is great for the recoil control because it gives you only vertical recoil without having to worry about any lateral side-to-side recoil at all. Now what really puts this weapon over the top is the fact that it's got high caliber rounds, and high caliber rounds flinches the opponent Guardian. So with these 3 perks combined, you have some superb stability, amazing recoil control, and flinching capability, which means that you hit headshots almost 24/7, and because of those high caliber rounds, you're obviously able to flinch the opponent Guardian every single headshot, which literally makes them miss you almost 100% of the time. I mean, I don't know how else to put this other than that this gun should be illegal. It's so unbelievably powerful and a god roll among god rolls. Now to top all that off, it's also got quick draw, which I love for my playstyle because I'm very, very aggressive. However, having true sight would be a little bit better, but hey, I'm not going to complain because this thing is so good. So what I would really advise for you guys to look for in this weapon is to obviously have really good recoil control, just like what it's got with Counterbalance, some good stability perks with like Perfect Balance, and also have high caliber rounds. That's an absolute must if you want to crush it, which I know you're going to whenever you get this sexy black and white zebra. Ladies and gents, there you have it, and I hope you enjoyed the best top 5 legendary auto rifles to use in PvP and or the Crucible. Now, just a quick little recap here, guys, because I know that we covered a lot of things in a very short amount of time, and I want to make sure that we remember them all. So coming in the number 5 spot was the Unbent Tree, and the number 4 spot was the Grim Citizen, and the number 3 spot was the Vision Stone, and the number 2 spot was the Continental, and in the number 1 spot was the Extrema File. Now, if your guys have a different auto rifle that you think that should be in the top 5, then by all means, let me know what that is in the comment section below, and also the perks that it's got, because just because it didn't make it in this list, doesn't mean that it can't. It just means that these are the auto rifles that I picked because they're the ones that I had, and the ones that I thought had the best perks. Lastly, go ahead and check out some of my other new videos, as you can see right there on the screen. If you enjoyed this one, then you're definitely going to enjoy those as well. That's pretty much all that I've got for you guys as of right now. And so as always, Deislayers, great gaming, until next time.